From a lot of Democrats may be looking at Gary Johnson and seeing Ralph Nader there.
Yep. Not a pretty picture for them.
Well, it is what it is. People go into this eyes wide open. If you vote for somebody who can't win for president, it means that you don't care who wins for president.
That's what I think. And when you talk to people like that and say, why are you letting the vote go against the interest you normally support? And they act like it's some sort of a Vichy thing, you know, like you're not really taking sides or something. There's some kind of, I should use that term, but some kind of neutrality.
Switzerland.
Yeah, Switzerland. A neutrality. And even Switzerland was a pro-German neutrality. Yeah. I mean, you really do take sides. And what side are you on is a pretty good question. The union guys always ask that. What side are you on? And I think people don't like making decisions because then you're responsible for who wins. And then people don't want that responsibility. Oh, there's some flaws with Hillary. I'm not really sure I like her. All right, make a decision. I think some of the Republicans, however, if this is what happens tonight, went home in the last 2 weeks and said, I care more about a conservative Supreme Court than I care about a guy with moral problems as president. I'll live with Donald Trump and protect the court.
Yeah. But the idea that you look at Donald Trump and you think, Manhattan billionaire, thrice married.
No, but he'll give you the Supreme Court you want.
Maybe he will.
Well, they hope he will.
He's also promised to build a wall on the southern border and to ban all Muslims from coming into the country.
Who have abortions.
Why do we believe some of these things and not some of the others?
Well, because they're hopeful.
Well,
they're hopeful.
Hope is a word for it. Delusion is another.
No, I don't know because we don't know who Trump is. I think a good argument could be made that of the three issues he ran on, illegal immigration, loss of factory jobs through bad trade deals, and wars he opposed, he may not have a commitment to any of those. How do we know? They were brilliant marketing decisions, though. Brilliant marketing, because they tapped into real feelings out there that people really have. And he tapped into them.
Joy Reid.
I was just going to say really quickly on the third party vote, because if you talk to particularly younger voters who were choosing third party, it wasn't even not wanting to make a decision. There was sort of a chic to saying, I'm above both of those candidates. And I think we have to own a little bit in the media ourselves, this idea that we sort of equalized, not us sitting here at this table, but in generally and broadly, the idea that these were two equally flawed, equally unpopular, sort of two sides of the same bad coin candidates. I think in general, the portrayal, every story, if you Google stories of Hillary Clinton, the term trustworthiness, honesty and trustworthiness was in the story. It was in every story, right? Whether or not the story itself had to do specifically with that. And I think that resonated with a lot of younger voters in particular who had a sort of a vague feeling that she was just as bad. And so the idea of there was a chic to saying, well, both of those two candidates are so bad that I'm going to take this sort of high road of picking one of the others, even if they didn't know anything about them. I mean, you know, I have my two kids, I have two that are old enough to vote, who had friends that were like, I don't like either one, and they didn't know anything about Jill Stein or Gary Johnson, but there was sort of a chic to saying, I'll choose this third option. But to your point, Rachel, that margin in Florida, you're talking about over 200,000 votes combined for those candidates. So it actually, you are making a decision. It could flip the election.
Oh, yeah.
And on the question of Donald Trump and what it is he believes in, you know, I think one of the things that we know he believes in for certain is revenge. So if you are Paul Ryan or Hillary Clinton or
so smart,
we know he believes in that.
He has a list.
Deeply. So one thing you can count on is that, you know, given all of that power and all of those powerful agencies with which you can seek revenge.
In terms of Paul Ryan and the revenge factor, we've actually heard from Paul Ryan tonight. Paul Ryan was reelected to his own seat in Congress tonight, but we've also heard from him on the broader state of the race. Chris Hayes has that. Chris?
Yeah, Paul Ryan has been reelected, and he has addressed supporters. He, of course, will be returning as of now as the Speaker of the House, although it's going to be a very uncertain future for him. Should Donald Trump emerge victorious tonight, we do know, as you said, that Donald Trump believes in revenge. It's one of his sort of core beliefs. He's stated it often, you hit me, I hit you back. Here's Paul Ryan talking to his supporters in Janesville with his fingers crossed.
I am so eager to get back to work for you, to get on with fixing our country's problems. We have so much potential in this country, so much potential. And if we can just tap it, that's what's ahead of us. You know, by some accounts, I've just been sitting there watching the polls. By some accounts, this could be a really good night for America. This could be a good night for us. Fingers crossed.
One last note here that should things break in Republicans' way the rest of the night, they have a very realistic possibility tomorrow of controlling all three, both the House, the Senate, and the White House. And the question would then become, who's in the driver's seat on policy? What does the Trump administration look like? Is it a version of Paul Ryanism? Of course, a person who supported free trade deals, including the TPP in the past, Mike Pence, who voted for NAFTA. Is it Trumpism? Is it something in between? Is it something out of left field? Remarkably, we sit here tonight with not a very good idea at all of what that looks like.
Chris Hayes at our news desk tonight. Thank you. I would just say, can we just put up that bug that we had up there just a moment ago, the Dow bug that we had? One of the things that Chris was reporting on earlier, which you've been keeping an eye on, over the course of really the end of this campaign, we've been watching the markets react whenever Donald Trump appears to pip up in the polls right now. And tonight, you see the Dow Jones futures. Obviously, the Dow Jones is closed right now. The market is not closed in is not open in the United States. These are futures, people betting on what's going to happen, or people putting their making their stakes in terms of what's going to happen at market opening. Down nearly 700 points tonight, with Donald Trump having such a better night than a lot of people thought he would.
The Dow futures were not on the minds of the people who have turned vast stretches of our country red this evening. We have a call, the state of Florida. What we are terming the apparent winner, Donald Trump. In the state of Florida, 29 electoral votes. The apparent winner terminology. Here is the electoral math. 216 Trump, 209 Clinton. The race for 270, here's how it plays out visually. So much talk about the paths to 270. Who merely wanted Florida?
Right now,
who needed it? We have another
of
call back to back. Utah, Trump, 6 electoral votes. The projected winner in Utah. Here we go. 222, 209. Back down to the ice we go for the depiction in color. Red and blue.
Well, still connects.
And the remaining gray.
In terms of the swing states tonight and how they have gone, we've got Hillary Clinton, just in terms of swing states and battlegrounds tonight, prevailing in Virginia, in Colorado, in New Mexico. We've got Donald Trump prevailing, according to NBC News projections, Donald Trump prevailing in North Carolina, Ohio, and Florida.
I need to interrupt with another one. Trump wins Iowa, the projected winner in Iowa. We've had a flurry of projections here. 6 more electoral votes for Donald Trump this evening. 228, 209.
Again, the number that you're going for here is 270. That's the number of electoral votes that you need in order to win the presidency.
Steve Kornacki has just run over to the map because of Michigan, Steve.
Yeah, well, we've been telling you, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, these 3 states emerging as key. Hillary Clinton playing catch up in Michigan. Where does it stand right now? It's tightened. Hillary Clinton polling within 17,000 votes of Donald Trump in Michigan. Let me show you where the votes are left here. If she's to make that up, first of all, take a look in Wayne County. This is where Detroit is, not just Detroit. There's also some suburbs. You see, there's a lot of votes still to come in Wayne County. Over 800,000 votes were cast here 4 years ago. You see, you add that up. We're really only at about the halfway point if you're using 2012 as a benchmark. So Hillary Clinton can get votes out of there. There are still, though, votes to come out of Macomb County. Again, this was an Obama County. This is one Trump targeted. And look, he has turned it around. There are still votes coming out of here. He can make up some of the margin there. He's also doing surprisingly well. Again, this was an Obama County. Trump appears to have flipped it. This is something we saw in Wisconsin as well. So there are Trump areas as well. And if you just look at this, like we did in Wisconsin, look at all the red on this map right now in Michigan as the returns come in. Go back to 2012. You saw these blue areas. It's not quite as dramatic as Wisconsin, but you're seeing it. So Hillary Clinton has opportunities, and you see the votes have changed again. She's 25,000 behind. There are opportunities really in Wayne County and a little bit in Ann Arbor for her to make that up. If she can check Michigan off, then she can get, if she were to get Wisconsin and Nevada, that would stop Trump.
Steve Kornacki, right now, what's the total amount of the vote that's in Michigan? We're not yet up to 60% of that vote?
Yeah, and it's tough to, yes, we're at about 60%. And again, the big sort of thing that's lagging right here, it's Wayne, it's Detroit. You've really got about half the vote here in by far the largest county. So this is the biggest thing yet to come in. But then it's that, a big sort of Democratic county versus a lot of small and medium-sized, what tonight are red counties, where, one by one, he can chip away at that.
Steve Kornacki, thank you. Again, just keeping in mind what's still outstanding in terms of NBC News projections, Georgia, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, all key states where we are waiting on the final word. And there are obvious combinations of those remaining few states that tell us who the next president will be.
I just got word that Pennsylvania looks strong for the Democrats again. Brady's saying the Philadelphia machine is going to be 450 to 460. So that's way up where you needed to get. So I think that state's good for Clinton right now. But if Trump's got to decide what kind of a president he's going to be, we're in a weird situation right now.
I can confirm we're in a weird situation right now.
Something made me think of the movies a few minutes ago. I forget what it was. I was thinking of the movies. I think of Jeremy Lerner's line in The Candidate. What do we do now?
What do we do now?
What do we do now? And that might be the situation Trump will find.
Robert Redford sitting on the edge of the bed.
Right.
Ben Ginsburg is here. Ben has been a lot of things. He is Mr.